So as we start with the colored pencil techniques, it's really just the same thing that we've done before using colored pencil gradients. So adding and subtracting pressure depending on what color we have. Now in the sample it shows using a darker version of whatever colored marker I used. So in this case what I have is two parts. I got a positive and a negative background and positive space colored in and a negative space colored in. This is a light blue, medium blue. I just got a darker blue pencil, and I'm going to do what we've done before in creating a gradation. So pressing a little bit harder and then slowly working my way out to a lighter version of the color. That technique is called colored pencil overshading. So if I want to give this the appearance of a highlight of that light blue in the middle, I'm just going to take my colored pencil right up against the edge here, medium pressure, and then I'm just going to slowly work my way off of the edge as I get to the middle. And you can see the texture of the paper creates an interesting texture on the surface of the marker. So I'm darkening up a little bit more pressure up against the edge of the shape, and then I'm transitioning the highlight towards the middle. I want that highlight to be in the middle. I'll do the same thing on the other side. A little bit more pressure up against the edge, and then slowly transition it, following the line out to the middle. Let's get really, really light as I get towards the center. And that gives me an implied highlight. The other option it says too is I could even use, depending on what color I have, I could use a little bit of white to create a little bit of a highlight. But I don't want to color over too heavily with the white, and I don't want to bring the white into the dark blue because that's going to make a completely different color. Another option you have with the color scheme is in the background here. Maybe I don't want to do like a gradation that goes from the outside to the inside. Maybe I just want to give this thing the appearance that there's a cast shadow from the line over top of the box. So in that case, I'll just go along the outside of the form, right along the outside edge of the line, and then just a soft edge. I'm not getting too dark, I'm just creating a nice soft edge, just to give it the implied version of a cast shadow below. Now on some of the other colors, depending on what color you use, this is obviously, it's a darker warm brown. And how could I use that concept with the cast shadow like I just did, where the line overlaps the background? So I could do the same thing here. I would just need to pick an edge from which to create that highlight and the shadow. So the shadow is going to go along the bottom edge here and go along the bottom edge of my line right there, creating that implied cast shadow. Do the same thing on this. Implied cast shadow coming off of that overlapped, and it's just a nice soft blend of the colored pencil.